reason, and the fact that a judge ruled to finally end Britney Spears' conservatorship after 13 years, other than to create an original character called Britney Dears with hit parody songs like Rub Me Baby One More Time, Oops, I Tagged Me Again, Bucky, and I'm Not a Fawn, Not Yet a Doe. We are bringing you the top local, national, and world news that you may have missed.
You're welcome, Grand Rapids. This is
NewsFlash. Tonight's top story. A federal judge will allow the U.S. House to access hundreds of pages of documents from Donald Trump's presidency leading up to and about the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, and in a forceful rejection of Trump's recent attempts to control information from his administration. While the House awaits the National Archives' release of these documents, we here at NewsFlash have obtained exclusive advanced copies of some of the White House call logs, visitor logs, and notes from that fateful day, and we will now share them exclusively with you, our viewers. So, first off, a partial copy of the Oval Office call log shows incoming calls from Mike Lindell, taken, Mr. Q, the call was taken as well, Mr. BLZ Bub, he conferenced in with Stephen Miller, also taken, Eric Trump, that call was deflected to the social secretary, and Congress message was taken, help, question mark? 3 calls from Mike Pence that were all sent to voicemail, and then another where the outgoing White House message was changed to inbox full.
the outgoing call show comes to contact Melania and ordered Taco Bell, Chalupa Supreme. Another called Melania. White Castle ordered a bag of burgers. We also called KFC, who ordered a bucket extra crispy white meal. Conspiracies are us. We tried to call Melania again, but again, no answer. And the conference call with Jay Kushner, I Trump, R. Giuliani, P. Boys, Q, DQN, and Lindell, and somebody named N. Mom.
Yep, and also among these documents, we have obtained notes from a meeting on that day, the Insurrection Planning Principles meeting, January 6th, 7 a.m. The agenda includes introductions and an icebreaker, bring props, handled by D. Trump, hoax election proof, found in Four Seasons Landscaping Dumpster by R. Giuliani, post-insurrection apparel, Trump Fire USA t-shirts and beanies on order from China, that's from I. Trump. Constitutionality, we can definitely retrofit this insurrection revolution into the Constitution, again from R. Giuliani. And then the last bullet item, possible scapegoats from Jay Kushner, include Mike Pence, Nancy Pelosi, and a gullible mob. And then we also uncovered this document from Trump's personal notepad. Yeah, looks like he really hot for that Q shaman, really high hopes for that guy. But almost there on the hangman, but we'll see. See you next time.
Mike Pelosi CEO and Trump's public pillow talker, Mike Lindell, called Fox News the worst media outlet probably in the history of the planet. And while we really wish we could agree with him, this thing would have been way more accurate before the arrival of Breitbart, the Daily Wire, One American News, or InfoWars. But hey, top 5 ways to better Fox News.
Yeah, it was numbers up, maybe. Some people just don't want to play nice. After the most recent White House order to mandate vaccines for certain businesses, some anti-vaxxers have reportedly been circulating tips to attempt to negate the vaccine by taking baths in borax to pull out the chemicals in the vaccine. That is true, unfortunately. In other news, little whiny babies who don't want to eat their vegetables have been making themselves sick drinking Karo syrup, trying to cancel out broccoli. In both cases, mommy and daddy are getting really tired of all this, and unfortunately, in the other metaphor, diabetes isn't contagious, so we can't just let these dumbos suffer the consequences of their bad choices without risking letting their brothers and sisters get sick. So just eat the freaking vegetables, okay?
Speaking of wanting petulant crybabies, no, not that one. Not that one either. Yeah.
There we go.
Anybody paying attention to the Kyle Rittenhouse murder trial have surely noticed the shenanigans shenanigans of the judge-approved Schroeder, making inappropriate racist jokes about Asian food, going on random historical tangents about the fall of Rome and FDR, fighting with the prosecution, and taking an unfathomable amount of time to learn how he can't pitch to zoom his text properly without it becoming illegible as justification to provide video evidence on the prosecution's contact when it be allowed to be submitted for consideration. The closing arguments took place today, and at this time we are still awaiting the jury's verdict. But one thing is for sure, this guy is guilty of killing all of our time.
Yep. Last week, a Maine lobsterman caught a cotton candy lobster named for its rare blue color, and the company that accepted the catch is looking for a permanent home for this lucky crustacean as they have difficulty surviving in the wild. So while the temptation of finding out if this lobster actually tastes like its sweet namesake or really has any flavor at all could be unbearable for some, PETA has taken note and is likely going to be soon seen sneaking into factory farms with tubs of blue dye. Meyer, of course, always ahead of the curve with their purple cow rings. It's 1934 there.
Nature is healing. Venomous sharks have returned from river gangs in London.
Woo!
Yeah. In 1957, the river was declared biologically dead. Due to worsening climate conditions, they are running out of options and have settled back to the murky waters under the Tower Bridge. The sharks are really hoping for drug tourists to fall into the fangs so they don't have to resort to the local cuisine.
Yeah. A war is raging between Italy and Croatia. As the latter has announced plans to revive a 300-year-old wine called Prosek, which shares origins with two other similar but distinct and different winemaking processes, all three named for the Prosecco region with whom their coast shares with Slovenia. Now, both are classified as sweet dessert wines. The types of grapes used are very different, and while the Croatian wine technically predates the Italian variation, it is the most popular wine globally. 550 million bottles made annually for a value of almost 2.8 billion, while the Croatian and Slovenian varieties have long merely just been homemade or sold in very small batches that don't circulate beyond their immediate regions. So the source of the dispute, as this brand is looking to upset the market, just like with champagne and specific cheeses, Italy is trying to make clear you can't call it if it's not from the place. But as the immortal bard once said, what's in a name? A bottle of overly sweet dessert wine by any other name will still give you gut rot. Yeah. All that.
The iconic Grand Rapids Blue Bridge will turn purple this November for Epilepsy Awareness Month. The Epilepsy Foundation of Michigan are delighted to marry the first idea of a strobe light effect instead, because it wasn't really the typical awareness they wanted to go for.
Yeah, probably a 24-year-old man in Russia has been claiming for years that he is actually a Martian that has reincarnated on Earth after living for centuries. Among other things, he insists there are ancient secrets hidden by his kind in Egypt. Quote, the human life will change when the Sphinx is opened. It has opening mechanism somewhere behind here. I do not remember exactly. Well, that's pretty convenient, huh? Vladimir Putin has ordered that Briska, his name, his human name, must be protected at all costs so as to prevent leaking any more sensitive information. But meanwhile, has reportedly been researching flights to Cairo on Trivago. So I guess fingers crossed we get another Ark of the Covenant situation out of this thing. I don't know, maybe.
Of course, that wasn't confirmed or denied if there are any more reincarnated Martians living amongst us, but there has been increased security around Elon Musk, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Paul Rudd. Speaking of perpetual zaddy, Mr. Rudd was named Sexiest Man Alive by People Magazine. Which is no surprise. But our condolences go to the family of last year's winner, Michael B. Jordan, for their son's tragic loss in the traditional Sexy Thunderdome. 2 men entered, only one sexy man.
Interesting. I didn't know that's how they decided it. The NRA, including Executive Vice President, CEO, and Cuban Skepsi, Wayne LaPierre, once again found themselves mired in controversy after newly leaked audio was recorded immediately following the Columbine massacre in 1999, featured their leaders referring to their own NRA members as hillbillies and fruitcakes. In response, a spokesperson for the NRA said, we call our members fruitcakes out of love and respect because they're so sweet, a little nutty, and they're always there for us, even if most people would prefer they hadn't shown up at Christmas. Also, we weren't actually calling anybody hillbillies. We were just workshopping our new celebrity couple name for the Clintons. Thinker.
Move over, billionaires. Science Ketchup has entered the space race. Astrobiologists have been growing tomatoes in Mars-like conditions at the Aldrin Space Institute in Florida for the past 2 years, and recently bottled a special Mars edition of ketchup for Heinz. While other tests for what foods are able to be grown on Earth's backup planet continue, astronauts are relieved they now have a solution for covering the face of bland space food in the meantime.
The second place winner of the Michigan Division II state champion high school race was disqualified because he shouted a 4-letter profanity after crossing the finish line. Officials said the curse word violated a national rule and there was no grace offered, as reportedly the exclamation could be heard from 50 yards away. Now, our source doesn't exactly say what word he actually said or how it all went down, but stands to reason it was most likely he just yelled, yeah, while crossing the finish line, and then officials were like, oh, we got to demote you to 3rd place now, and he's just like, and they're like, oh, that's 5th place now, and then just kept going and going until finally, he qualified from the whole thing. But I like to think maybe he just randomly just yelled out piss. Maybe that was it. I can dream.
Israeli archaeologists have discovered a ring of ruins of an ancient wine factory they believe was likely used by royalty to prevent hangovers. In other words, to avoid post-liberation visits to the wrong kind of throw. The Israel Antiquities Authority said the ring is gold with purple semi-precious gem, probably being amethyst. Ironically, the choice of stone might have contributed to frequent drinking, which we will see after that come up.
Yeah, let's see right over there.
Antimony, how are you feeling today?
Amethysty.
Oh, can I let you have a drink? How are you feeling now?
Amethysty.
Oh, drink again? How about now?
Amethysty.
This is all yours. Finish it up. Go. Jump, 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 jump. And now?
I must away to the Afro Bay.
And see. I see those two later on, I think. Scientists know that they have a grave responsibility not to let this ring fall into the wrong hands. For example, an entire comedy trilogy might never have existed had it been found by one Bradley Cooper and Zach Galifianakis. We wouldn't want that to have happened, right? Terrible alternate universe that would be.
A judge in Georgia has banned the relatively recent tradition of elf on a shelf in his county, citing it as a risk to the emotional health and well-being of young children. This is truly a savage blow when we're on Christmas, and I guess this is what happened to people this week, literally.
Truthfully, I think it really is the judge just doesn't want to give elves the right to vote in upcoming elections. So either way, now citizens of Cobb County will have to settle for Spike Lee in a tree, Little John, there you go, Little John on the lawn.
Carter in the harbor, Uber on a sandwich.
A peach on the beach, Stipe on a pipe.
Hulk Hogan on an ottoman, Marjorie Taylor Greene on a dirty old man tree.
Whoa, hey,